order to have a good friend, you need to be a good friend. So how can we be good friends?
How can we be good friends?
Mm-hmm.
That's a hard question because I think I'm a good friend, but I'm not sure if my friends think the same way. I hope they do. But the thing is about being a good friend is about loving your friend. I think that the most important one is when you love a person, you give the most of yourself to him.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that would be my solution. If you have a problem with your friends, just love your friends and find the friend that you love, and then it will be so much easier.
Yeah, I like that. I like that suggestion. So, and I would like to leave you with your speech, My Yoga Way. Is that correct?
Sure, my yoga lesson, my yoga way, either way you love to say it.
Okay, please.
Yep. I've been practicing yoga for the last 2 years. For many people it may seem that it's a lot, but in the yoga world, that's nothing. It's like literally you are in the beginning of your journey. You're like a little baby making your steps in the yoga world. But I think these 2 years are enough for me to have lessons that I can share with you. And my biggest yoga lesson, the first and the biggest one, started with a guy. I had a huge crush on this guy. I wanted to talk so bad to him. I wanted to attract his attention, to have a little bit of conversation. And so finally, that moment came. He approached me and we started talking. He started asking me questions, and I was like, hey, what's the best way to impress the guy, right? Is tell about your inspirations, about your hobbies. And I was like, hey, I'm doing yoga. And I was so excited to hear his response back. And he's like, oh, really? You're doing yoga? So you're singing Hare Krishna at the streets and wearing gypsy clothes in your free time? That's not kind of the answer that I was expecting to get, and not type of reaction. So after that, I was not talking to this person anymore because I'm not singing Hare Krishna and I don't look like gypsy. But that's the lesson that I learned is don't use yoga to flirt with guys. It just simply doesn't work. And the reason why this guy joked this way or responded this way is that he had certain stereotypes about yoga. And there are so many people that have different level of stereotypes and different difficulties of those stereotypes towards yoga. Some has more, some has less. And where are these stereotypes coming from? They're coming from the fact that there are so many types of yoga. And it really depends on you, on what you want to select yoga that specifically fits you. And the problem is, people don't know what they want. And therefore, they cannot find yoga or any other type of sport that would fit them. As I said, there are so many yoga. If you have issues with your spine or with your knees, there is yoga for these purposes, to recover from an injury. If you want to be flexible, sure, there are yoga specifically for that. If you feel like a diva sitting in the shower, there are yoga where you can sing mantras literally every day. If you are looking for something weird and strange and spiritual in a strange way, you can find it in yoga too. Once I was in a class where we had to sit for 30 minutes holding our hand like that and singing mantra, singing a song, and I had no idea what the lyrics were about. And there were 30 minutes, I could barely survive these 30 minutes of singing and holding my hand like that. It might seem very easy, but believe me, 30 minutes passed like that. Yeah, I couldn't open the door of the metro after this experience. So for me, selecting my yoga way, I needed to know what I want, right? If there are so many yoga, so which one? I understood that I want something extremely intense, physically intense. I wanted to be like a workout. Second, I didn't want any spiritualities or singing. Third one, I didn't want it to be like a girly yoga where you just like lay down and be beautiful. Not for me. And the most important one, usually when I study, I don't like when someone shows me something and I automatically and bluntly repeat. And a lot of yoga and a lot of physical activities are like that. Someone is showing you and you automatically repeat. And I was searching for like quite a long time, visiting different classes, seeing weird things. And then I found my yoga. And the name of this yoga is Ashtanga yoga. It's like Shtanga, but with Ashtanga yoga. What's so cool about that? This yoga is deadly, intensely crazy. I couldn't even open the doors. Every single part of my body was hurting after the first class, and after the second, the third, and my body still hurts after each single class that I take. And the most important, in this yoga, there is no teacher that shows you the move and then you repeat. This yoga consists of already historically and traditionally predefined sets of moves, or in yoga you call it asanas, that you learn and that you practice. And the role of a teacher, not to show you the moves and you repeat it, but to correct you, to push you even harder. The teacher is like a coach that guides you, that tells you when to stop. And it was so perfect. I was so into yoga practicing. And after some time, I noticed, after observing the students in the class, I was the worst. Like, literally. People were doing crazy things with their legs, you know, making things with their arms, and I couldn't do a single of that. And I was practicing for a year, and I was still the worst in the class. So what do you do when you have a problem, when you don't progress? Okay, some people call their mom, some people go drink wine, I did that too. And the third people, like me, I went to talk to my teacher and said, hey, so I'm not progressing. I want more. I want more intense trainings. I want the results now, please, want more. He said, keep practicing. That was a super useful advice. Well, what did I do? I kept practicing. I went into yoga, I was practicing. I already forgot about the students because I was the worst in the class, so what do? You just deal with it, you're the worst. And I was not paying attention to them anymore. And at some time, the teacher approached me and said, hey, see, now you finally managed to do this asana that I couldn't do before. And I was like, yeah, that's true. And I looked back and I realized how much progress I have made. As soon as I stopped, really?
Just finish.
Okay, as soon as I stopped, I was so sweet of you. As soon as I stopped doing, doing it, I noticed the progress. And there is the paradox of yoga. The yoga is full of paradoxes, and the one that I faced is that if you want a lot, you have nothing. If you want a little, you will get something. If you want nothing, you will get everything. And this is the paradox that I learned a bit in my experience, and this is how I managed to progress. But that's still the paradox and the lesson I'm still learning in life. Therefore, my dear Toastmasters, I advise every single one of you to break your stereotypes, to search for yoga, to search for actually what do you want. Keep practicing and keep breaking your stereotypes.